Hello dear viewers, I'm Andrew Zlatin. Welcome to Andrew Zlatin Show. And in today's video, we're going to talk about virtual machines. In case you don't know what a virtual machine is, it is basically a program that allows you to run an operating system inside of kind of a virtual environment that is inside of your already existing operating system. It's essentially running a computer within a computer. So, first of all, how does it work? There are multiple different technologies upon which emulators of operating systems work inside of another operating system. Some of the most popular ones are Java, KVM, QEMU, and others. Two of the most popular virtual machine programs are VMware Workstation and VirtualBox. While VirtualBox is completely free and open source, VMware Workstation is a commercial app, although there is a non-commercial version of it called VMware Workstation Player, previously known as VMware Player. In my opinion though, VMware Workstation is better than VirtualBox. Despite the fact that it's commercial and not open source, it offers a higher quality of emulation, especially the emulation of Linux distributions. Well, how do you create a virtual machine? Most people create a virtual machine by downloading the ISO of the operating system they want to emulate, or ripping it off a CD or DVD disk, or maybe of a flash drive. Later, they take that RIP or ISO file and install it on a clean virtual machine. Whenever you create a virtual machine, there are many options to select on which operating system you want to choose to install on that specific machine. This will adjust some of the settings of the system to fit to that specific operating system that you want to put in the virtual machine. Most people make their virtual machines from scratch with an ISO file or a RIP from a disk or flash drive. But not many people know of something called pre-made virtual machines. In order to find pre-made virtual machines for your favorite VM program, whether it be VirtualBox or VMware, you'll have to Google pre-made VMDK for VMware or pre-made VDI for VirtualBox. After entering the search query, you'll find a few websites in which you could get pre-built virtual machine images. What are these images, you ask? Well, these are files that include the images of the operating systems pre-built by other users to use in a virtual machine program. Please note that, well, you cannot have Windows as a pre-made VMDK because that would be piracy and that's illegal. So usually these kinds of systems are Linux systems. So yeah. Now here are a few helpful tips on how to make your virtual machines faster and better, how to increase the performance, and how to make those systems easier to use. Now, first of all, if you make a new virtual machine from scratch, you should probably pick the correct operating system. Now, whenever you want to create a new virtual machine, you'll have this form here. It doesn't matter if you choose an ISO or not. Sometimes it will detect the system automatically and apply the correct settings. Sometimes it will not. But either way, you have to select your operating system. Please select the correct operating system. For example, if you want to use Ubuntu or Windows or I don't know, some kind of another operating system, you can click here and find it and then choose it. If you don't find your system, try to look up on Wikipedia which Linux distribution it is based on or which other operating system it is based on, because some systems tend to be based on other systems. Linux Mint, for example, is based on Ubuntu, therefore you cannot find it here, so you have to use Ubuntu or Ubuntu 64-bit if you have enough RAM and use the 64-bit version. Now, I don't think 64 32-bit, like I don't think 32-bit and 64-bit depend on RAM. It depends on the architecture of the system itself. So it doesn't matter how much RAM you put in the system. If it is 64-bit disk, it won't work on a 32-bit setting like this one. You'll have to change it to a 64-bit setting. Now, here's how for example, I run a virtual machine. Now, I just want to tell you that my settings on this machine right now are incorrect. Right now, what I want to do, and I want you to follow me if you want to create a good virtual machine, you'll have to do what I say. Set up higher RAM, higher things, like higher settings on these machines. Now what you do is you open your virtual machine software, you click on the VM, edit virtual machine settings. You have to turn it off if you want to edit the settings. You don't pause it. If you pause it, you can't edit the settings. If you shut it down normally or plug it off, you can do either things in a VM. You'll be able to edit those settings. Increase the memory to like half, maybe like 4 gigabytes. Like I have around 8 gigabytes of RAM, if I'm not mistaken, and I want to put 4 gigabytes of RAM. For the most stable performance, you'll have to put like a correct amount of gigabytes, like 4096 megabytes is 4 gigabytes exactly. So don't fidget it up. That's a horrible word. That's a horrible word. Don't use the word fidget unless you mean a fidget spinner. Anyway, number of processor cores. I have currently, I have an i5, so I put in 4 processor cores. Don't change any of this because it'll choose the best one for your processor. Now, it usually does it automatically. Like if you have Intel VTX AMD turned on, I have it turned on in my UEFI, which is kind of like a BIOS on a regular computer, but it's a new kind of a BIOS. I'll talk to you about these kinds of things later, because I'll have to, like, if I want to show you my BIOS screen, I'll have to like turn off my computer and use a camera from my phone or something like that. That'd be a little bit difficult. But anyway, choose 4 processors. By the way, you can also have shared folders if you have but that only works if you have the extensions for the system. These are usually called guest additions or guest extensions, depending on what program you use. Shared folders will only work on systems on which you install, like if you have a guest and you already installed the guest additions, and I did that just now. Guest additions. Now, how to install guest additions on an operating system? You play the virtual machine. Now, what are these guest additions anyway? These are basically drivers that extend the possibilities of your operating system. So I'm running the KDE Neon OS. I've installed it, so it automatically logged me in. By the way, I really like this Neon operating system. It has KDE built in. It's like Ubuntu. It's like Kubuntu, but it is made by the official people behind KDE. So it's more versatile, like more stable, better, faster, kind of a newer kind of a thing. So, how do we install VMware tools? Click on Player, Manage. Like on a VMware Workstation 12 player, you'll have to click Player, Manage, Reinstall install VMware tools, because I've already installed it. It has the reinstall button here, but it'll have install VMware tools instead. It basically will pop up like a disk, so you'll be able to, well, So it'll automatically open. Like sometimes it will have like a thing down here that will tell you to install that stuff, or some kind of a pop-up message that will tell you please install the guest editions to make your system work better. Do that. Please do that. And if you don't know how to do that, you can extract and then you can just open the main install file. Or consult Google on that matter. It depends on the operating system. For Linux it will be a little bit more difficult. Sometimes you'll have to run a terminal, sometimes you don't. Depends on the distribution of Linux. Which is a whole other complicated topic. Anyway, on Windows it'll be mostly automatic. Like you just have a window pop up, and then you have to click on the correct, like on the installed automatic installation process or something like that. So anyway, what kind of things do the guest editions allow? First of all, they allow you to resize the operating system based on the size of the window. So you resize the window and you resize the whole operating system. It's pretty cool. It's actually very, very great if you want to play it in full screen. You click on the full screen. I can't show you full screen right now. Anyway, I don't even want to, but never mind. I'm just going to show you this way because that's more comfortable. Now, another thing that you can do is you can share folders. So I think it exists in both VMware and VirtualBox, maybe in a bit of a different way each time, but you can have the settings and then you can just go to wherever your shared folders are, always enabled, and then you name a host path. I'm not gonna do it right now, but these kinds of things, basically you will have a hard drive where all your files are stored. Yeah, so that is actually a great feature. I'm actually going to show you how it looks like. So I'm creating this thing, enable the share, and I click OK. Now the next thing that pops up here when you click on the file manager, well, nothing pops up. I think you'll have to like restart the guest if you want it to work. But I'm restarting my guest because apparently it doesn't work right off when you set it up. You'll have to restart it. In some systems it'll just work right off. In some systems you'll have to restart it. But let me just tell you what happens next when you do this kind of manipulation. So you have your Plasma booting up. Let's wait until it boots up. It actually boots up really fast on a virtual machine because a virtual machine is like virtual machines. If they're properly installed, they can be really fast. So home network trash. Let me just see if it works. Well, I don't know if it works here, but I don't know if it works. Manage virtual machine settings. I'll just properties, enable to read only. I don't know why, but apparently it doesn't work in this VM. But eventually, what it does is it basically allows you to drag folders and other things. Now, for example, I want to drag some kind of an image. What image can I choose? Like some kind of a random fan art or something. Now, let me try doing something between these OSes. Image. Look at that. Look at that. It actually allows me to drag these things right into the OS. This is really cool. Now what if I want a different image? So I want this image. There you go. This is amazing. Sometimes files will just drag it up and stuff like that. So I have Dolphin here, like the browser for the things. I am copying an image from here, and then I'm pasting. Can I paste it here? Paste one file. It actually it actually moves files from here to there. Holy crap! This is actually better than just using a shared folder because it's better than using a shared folder because you can actually use your drag from your Windows machine right into the system. It's based on Ubuntu, so it's easier to do. If it'll be like you've got about a FreeBSD system, that'll be a little bit harder to do because it isn't like it doesn't have the same support from VMware. Maybe I don't know. But in this case, since it's based on Ubuntu, it's Neon. It works It works really amazingly. You can do anything you want. Actually, really great. I really love this. I just figured out a new feature of VMware Workstation. Really amazing. Let me just put this on pause. And yeah, that's it. Now you can see what a virtual machine can do if you have all the extensions installed. Virtual machines are helpful for a lot of things, either testing new operating systems. Virtual machines are helpful for a lot of things. For example, if you want to test a new operating system you've never tested before, or maybe you want to install another operating system on your computer and you're not sure which system to pick, and you don't want to ruin all your data. Well, for that, you can use virtual machine software like VMware or VirtualBox. There are no limits to what you can do on a virtual machine. Some people take it as far as to install Mac OS, despite the fact that Apple doesn't allow it. There are tons, and by that I mean tons, of different ways to install Mac OS X or OS X on a PC with a virtual machine. For example, let me go to this little website and, well, let me see it. So, these are the steps to install OS X El Capitan on a PC by using a virtual machine. So you create a virtual machine on VMware Workstation Player or VMware Workstation, and you select Apple Mac OS X, and then you do a bunch of these different tweaks and tricks, and you edit code so that it will run properly on your PC, and then you can run it. Now, I've tried doing this kind of a trick, but it only left me with a half-functioning Mac OS system, and the sound was really choppy. I don't recommend you to do these kinds of tricks if you want a stable Mac OS X running on your PC. I'd rather make like a real Hackintosh than use it. I don't know, like, some of these things work, some of these don't. Like, older versions will work better. Anyway, it's all your choice on what to do. Well, I know that it's piracy and it's not legal, kind of, but there are ways to do this, so yeah. This is a thing that exists. There are a lot more things that you can do on a virtual machine, but I have to end this video somewhere. So, this is it for today's episode. Thank you so much for watching. Did you like this video? Well, you can thumbs up this video, you can subscribe to my channel, maybe look at my other channels. I've renamed some of them, like Andrew Zlatin Gibberish, which is another channel, the personal channel, Andrew Zlatin, and, well, the Loopmore, Andrew Zlatin Loopmore. Like, it's a more unified brand, and I'll try to be making more videos. This is a very unscripted video. I'm making these, like, part after part, and stitching it up, one after another, like to make a cohesive, fast video without the need to, without the need to prepare a lot of preparations for this. And I'll be doing more of these videos because they're faster to make. You can make them in one day, like in 1 or 2 days, instead of making a bunch of trailer analysis and a bunch of crap, and a bunch of crap that you record, and then it sounds really bad, and then until it sounds really bad, you have to upload it anyway. This is what happened with my last video, anyway. At least in this video, it's a little bit more improved. So, that was it on virtual machines. Virtual machines are great. And if you think otherwise, comment below. Anyway, I'll see you in the next video. That was Zlatin with Zlatin Show. And bye-bye.